What about nutrition? Did it change? Like, is there anything that you drastically changed this time? Shouldn't say drastically, but like, I know even over the years, our eating has really evolved personally, just because we're learning more and the research is showing us different things. Did you change for this Olympics at all?
No, I wouldn't say I changed anything really drastically for this Olympics. Again, just working with my dietitian and like making sure I met like the energy requirements for when I like got back into competing again. I think really the biggest thing for me was just making sure I was eating like enough carbs, and I was meeting those needs because
you didn't just say carbs, did you? Our listeners are going to be totally freaked out.
Yeah. But for me, I wasn't getting enough right after my training.
Right.
And so I found like, oh, I keep getting sick. And it was like, when I'm traveling, once I like came down, like, and had a rest time, I was getting sick. And it was so like, for me, it was like working with my dietitian. She's like, one of the things that affects your immune system is, like making sure you have enough carbs. And so, I mean, that's just an example. And it was for me, but I think even as anybody, like you said, it's like, oh, the C word. And as a woman and as somebody who's has to compete in a bathing suit, you feel so much pressure to look a certain way, but just recognizing like, but my priority is to perform and to perform well. And what do I need to do that, day in and day out. So yeah, I think my approach, and I've had almost 2 decades to get here, but it's just like overall taking care of my general health first, like eating pretty well, hydrating and sleeping, like taking care of my general health before I can really get into the nitty gritty kinds of things. And as a high performance athlete, we have those opportunities. But if I'm not sleeping well, like if I'm only getting like 6 hours a night of sleep, really like being nitty gritty about my diet, like
it's not going to matter.
Exactly.
All the training you're doing is going for naught because you're not rested well
Exactly.
enough.
So I think when people, as athletes, people are always looking for a quick fix or like, what's your secret? And, it's just like, take care of your general health first and then maybe get into some of those nitty gritty details.
I think it's such an important message for everybody is we're all looking at, the Huberman podcast, the Tia, they're answering specific questions. They're researching specific things, which is all great. It builds the body of knowledge overall. But for the most part, they would immediately go to the big nuggets,
Be
another way,
healthy.
just be generally healthy.
And don't stress about it. Right. Which again, that's female athletes. It's hard.
But the fact that
it is hard to like be training like that and eating enough. I think like I see that all day long with track and field athletes, especially the younger ones, is that they know if their weight is down a bit, they're actually going to run faster. And we have such a difficult time keeping them healthy and changing their mindset towards health. A performance mindset makes it much easier to kind of go up and down and do more, things that are probably detrimental that you can convince yourself, oh, I should do this. They like that pre-workout. I was trying to think of what it was. I was talking to one yesterday and she broke down pre-workout to me, what was in it over the phone. I was like, we've got to get you off this stuff. It's so bad, but there's just that pressure of food is, carbs, calories, something I might want to avoid, and protein and caffeine are things that I want to, get more of. And it's such a hard thing to say, yeah, well, your health is going to go really downhill. You're going to be sick and then you're going to get injured. And then it's, then we're kind of back to square one again because we've got to get on the bike, get in the pool, do all those things that you hate doing. It's tough. It's a really tough mindset.
It is. And I think when I think about my diet, I think about kind of like a season. We have preseason, we have in season, we have off season. And when I think about, okay, if I'm going to get like really strict about my diet, there's going to be certain times for that. And there's going to be times when I sit and have, a glass of wine on the couch and eat chocolate. I think that mentally I need that. So I think, it's so hard to be on all the time. So I like allow myself to, like kind of ebb and flow with the diet because I know that for myself mentally, I need that. But then I also think there's this like weird culture around athletes and food and specifically female athletes because I think a lot of people would see me with a glass of wine or maybe a slice of pizza and immediately think it's okay to question if I should be eating or drinking that. And what makes it okay to ask people that in general, but specifically females, specifically female athletes, you don't know what going through their mind. And I think I'm at an age where I can be like, yep, I'm fine to eat this, like, and have no problem like responding to that. But maybe ask 16-year-old me, it'd be like, oh, like then it's going like then
What
I'm
am I
double
doing
thinking.
wrong?
Yeah, why
Yeah.
are they asking me that? Oh,
You're
maybe I
not gonna
shouldn't be
enjoy
eat this.
it.
Totally. And then you have this guilt. And I think as so many female athletes, women in general, kind of experience a lot of food guilt. And so I think there needs to be this like cultural shift being like, don't ask people what they're eating or what they're drinking or, like that's for the expert. That's for their dietitian, like that they're working with and the coaches and their circle of care to support them, not for you, random stranger.
Yeah.